Well, I want to get into the war and when you see the economy imploding in more detail, and that's in the current Trends Forecast Journal. But before we do that, we were talking during the break about how Chris Matthews on a best night has 500,000 viewers, and how medium-sized syndicated shows like this one have millions, several million conservatively, about 1 million more each week on the internet, about 3 million total. Chris Matthews is a legend in his own mind, but because there's a teleprompter, because there's a fancy suit, because there's a bunch of reporters, still some people watching it think it has all this gravitas and authority, but that illusion is now dying. But Chris Matthews and others still think their propaganda's working, and that's a big deal, that whoever they attack suddenly goes up in the polls. I mean, don't these delusional monkeys get and understand that their free ride, lying to people and bamboozling and scamming and hoodwinking, is coming to an end?
Not until they get fired and the ratings keep slipping. Look what's happened to CNN. You know, I've just come up with a new pledge. I'm not going on any more of these shows anymore. I'm very selective. And if any of them want to do it, they could come over to my place and they could interview me, and they're not going to edit it. We're going to do it live because I know the game. I've been around a long time. When you're in charge of the controls, like they are, you can make it look like anything. So why should I give my valuable time up to them? What have they ever accomplished? What have they ever done? They're broadcast blowhards and suck-ups to the political system. So why should I go on their shows? To boost their ratings?
Well, yeah, that's the headline.
Going down?
CNN has lost more than half its viewers in 1 year. They lost half their viewers the year before that. I mean, they're going to be down to 50,000 viewers on their lowest show, 200,000 on their biggest, if the trend continues in 6 months, according to the Associated Press. Their top show, Larry King, has 1 million. By the way, it's going to be a hot show tonight. I talked to Ventura a few days ago, and I can now talk about it. He's been on there with Oliver Stone talking about New World Order. So now they're forced to let Ventura and Stone on, who will actually talk about real issues, desperately to keep any viewers. So that's actually smart of Larry King.
You mean Larry King? Is it Larry King live or Larry King almost dead? I mean, come on, you know, it's, when are they going to try something new? They're not going to do anything. They don't want it. I know the inside scoop. They want no one with a personality. They're white bread through and through. It hurts the advertisers. Let's get to the bottom line here. A guy like me, I'm bad for business. I'm telling people don't buy anything you don't need. I'm telling people that you're going to keep buying stocks in a market like this as they bring out all these shills on CNBC and other places saying this is a good buying opportunity. Stocks are at a low. Yeah, stocks are at a low. They're at a 1999 low. Remember they told you, Alex, you know, you have to stay in it for the long term. Hey, wasn't the NASDAQ in 2000 at 5,000, and now it's touching 2,000? What is the long term? A couple of generations? Oh, and how about those wonderful legacy stocks like Lehman Brothers and General Motors? No, they don't want me on. I'm not going on anymore. I'm telling you, I'm very selective. I get requests, I turn them down. I don't need them.
Well, I've noticed I only see you now.
I need them.
I noticed the YouTubes I see of recent, because I don't watch TV. I end up watching aggregate clips. I don't watch a lot of TV to be accurate. But I noticed I only see you on Fox mainly when it's live.
Yes, exactly. I won't go on any tape shows because they do what they do to you. They sandbag you. You could do anything with editing. And again, these aren't men. There's not a man among them. They're big mouths when they're in their little power bases, just like politicians. The red carpet crowd. You know, they show up in these huge airplanes. You know, they salute. They walk down the gangplank. A red carpet comes out. They strike up the band, and they have a parade, and they have all their guards around them, and the crowd is, you know, 100 yards away. Let's talk man-to-man over here. You'll never get one of them do it because they're little babies. They're only tough in their own arena. If they want to come over and talk to me man-to-man, we could have a man-to-man conversation. They'll never do it. There's not a man among them. They're political suck-ups, all of them.
Well, when you have a bunch of cowards running your society who say yes to everything, the worst is going to gravitate to the top, and they're going to become disconnected from reality, and they're going to destroy their own tyranny. That's the good news, is they've created such a tsunami of robbing and looting and stealing that Merkel 2 weeks ago had to put her own blocks in to stop the Wall Street and London banks bringing Germany down. And that brings me back to, you got cut off at the last break and we went off into other subject because I went there. Gerald, you're talking about war sooner rather than later. You're saying you believe the full collapse will come by the end of 2010. Give us the full breakdown. Let's go through this.
The crash of 2010 is happening. We saw it with the Dow taking a dive and continue to do so as the rest of the world equity markets. The United States has spent, lent, and guaranteed $13 trillion to bail out the system, including bailing out the commercial real estate sector. This has gone on worldwide. The whole EU has done it with their cheap money. Australia, the UK, Japan, South Korea, and China, of course. But China could afford to do it because they have surpluses. It's all running out now. So now we're going to start seeing the collapse. That's why gold prices are what now? $1,200 and about $40, $30.
Yeah, it's world record. World record in Europe, world record here.
And the Europeans know the deal, and they're going to keep buying more of it. Then we're going to see more talk about war. And that's how they divert the attention. History is only repeating itself. The same thing happened in the late 1920s. Markets crash, depressions, recessions set in, social unrest builds, and what do? They take you to war.
But we have to have nuclear war. We have to have nuclear war. I mean, they've told us forget about bin Laden for 5 years, but now he's in Iran. They said so. We've got to have nuclear war, Gerald. Bin Laden.
And how about that Saddam Hussein? Remember his weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda? And remember the Gulf of Tonkin? Remember the Maine?
Well, but bin Laden was on the Maine. Bin Laden was on the Maine in Havana Harbor in 1898, Gerald. Come on. No conspiracy theories.
Yeah, you're right. And you know, you were talking before, we were talking about these wimps. Look at Obama, the cheap trick with him going out there, I'm going to kick ass. Yeah, he was going to throw sharp elbows on the
the word on him is all he does is hang around in bathhouses.
You know, so, I mean, this whole thing is a disgusting spectacle, and the people need to realize who's in control. Remember the guys in high school and college that wanted to be the class presidents and the head of the student council? The guys that, you know, were suck-ups, that were brown-nosers, that were never sincere, glad-handers, and only out for themselves. The people that you couldn't stand.
No, I remember being about 18 and finally figuring out there's a lot of manipulative liars out there who assess you like a predator and then manipulate. But they're always cowards, you know, at their bottom card.
Exactly. And these are now our senators, our secretaries of this and that, our presidents. That's all they are. The same people we couldn't stand in high school and college are now telling us what to do. And the reason they get away with it, again, it's the red carpet crowd. It's the pomp that they keep showing the public.
Well, I mean, you talk about going into Iran. How do you see that unfolding, A? And then B, you did say the stimulus would run out in 2010. You called it the 08 situation 2-3 years before. You've called that accurately, and some of the other great economists we've had on have been accurate. So that's what's scary is that, you know, all the experts are agreeing, and you can see, and now the mainstream media is finally admitting an implosion is accelerating. And so, I mean, you're saying you see this really happening by the end of this year. Clearly, the economy's already, you know, on its back like a turtle that can't get up. But I mean, describe that in detail, how you see it unfolding.
All right, first on the war. Iran is talking about now bringing, you know, the ship into Gaza of relief goods. That could be a conflict right there. Israel is on the edge continually, looking for an excuse, as is being reported, to invade Iran, to knock out their nuclear capabilities at any level. The United States keeps demonizing Iran continually. And so we see something happening as a flashpoint and of course it'll be a false flag. We will put no credence in it at all if there's an attack against Iran. That's the worst scenario, and that's the one we think is going to unfold. On the economic level, there are a million wild cards out there. Europe looks like the best one now, but there could be a huge collapse. By the way, Alex, every Saturday morning, you pick up the newspaper, and buried in on the bottom somewhere is another 5 banks that fail.
All right, stay there. We're going to come back with a segment on the economy with Gerald Celente. Then your phone calls are coming up for the next 30 minutes. He's been gracious to spend this much time with us, Gerald Celente, and we'll also give you his website as well when we come back. Of course, if you're watching on prisonplanet.tv, you can see it right behind him. But it's just such valuable information.